Tō ia te wakataputu ki te moana mā wai e tō mā te whakarongo ake oihu o waka tūruki paneke. Hala mai te tō ki o haumi e hui e tai ki e. This week on The Hui, a Te Reo Māori special celebrating the language at home.
Anyway, Mai?
Aye,
anyway.
In the community.
It had been such an uphill journey to where we've been and to where we are now. And it's not just for the kids at school, it's what you can see in the whole community.
And across the country.
This is a positive demonstration, a positive celebration of what Te Reo means to most New Zealanders who are proud to call Aotearoa home.
Ngā manu whiti tū kua wehekero toi ngā iwi, ngā mate o te wā, hara mai haere. Tātou kei te pito ora ti he wa mauri ora, and welcome back to The Hui. The journey to revitalise Te Reo Māori and tikanga into the central Otago town of Alexandra hasn't been an easy one. But it hasn't stopped community leaders, Francie Diver and Louise McKenzie, from driving this kaupapa forward. And now they're guiding the Central Otago District Council to embrace Te Reo Māori me ona tikanga.
It was horrific. It was horrific.
A painful journey in Central Otago.
A great deal of the community were dead against anything.
Now turning a corner.
If more people had the chance to come out from behind their fears and have those kōrero, we'd be a better country.
But is everyone on board?
No, I think it's enough. I don't want to see anything changed.
This is how it is now. Hard enough.
The imposing and breathtaking ranges of Central Otago. Valleys which surround the small town of Alexandra.
Alexandra sits at the juncture of the Manuhirikia and Matao rivers. Traditionally, whānau didn't live here, though. It was a passageway from the Māngai to the moana. That was until the gold mining boom of the 1860s.
There were no other stories other than gold mining in Central Otago. They knew about Māori, but they didn't. They knew that we actually ate them more.
Francie Diver and Louise McKenzie are two stalwarts of the Alexandra community.
Now that I am this age, old, I think back and I thought, shit, you know.
Could you think that out? She's not allowed to say that.
For the last 4 decades, they've fought to revitalise and strengthen Te Reo Māori and tikanga in their rohe.
Well, now that I'm this age, which is old, and I look back, I'm really proud and can understand how hard we worked, how painful it was, how courageous we were not to give up.
In the late 1980s, Francie and Louise battled to set up a Te Reo Māori high school class.
A great deal of the community were dead against anything Māori, and there were times we'd come home crying, and one time a fist in the face, and that's how bad it was. That's how bad it was.
He came roaring across the room going, "You Maoris, get out of here." We weren't rare. We heard that it happened in other areas as well. You know, it just seemed so in your face here in Central Otago that they could be so serious about it, that not having Māori in the school, not having it, not having my children learning that.
Despite the mountain of opposition they faced, Louise became the first Te Reo Māori teacher at Dunstan High School in 1994.
It had been such an uphill journey to where we've been and to where we are now. And it's not just for the kids at school, it's what you can see in the whole community.
Louise and Francie have put a lot of mahi and I think a lot of lonely years being a Māori leader here in Central Otago. So perhaps to have some support from the Mayor has been a good thing too.
Central Otago Mayor Tim Cadogan is Pākehā, but he's recently been on his own real journey.
Well, it's been a fascinating one. I've been Mayor for just short of 8 years now, and coming into the role, boy, probably used no today. I grew up in Balclutha, so just downstream from here. I've lived in Otago all my life.
And you never heard a lot of te reo growing up?
No, like I'm 60 next year, so incredibly limited and no New Zealand history at all.
It wasn't until he became mayor he realised how disconnected he was.
When I became mayor, I thought, I'm going to have to learn Mandarin, believe it or not, because we had a large amount of Chinese tourists, growing market there, and also in Central Otago, a lot of our exports are cherries and so forth to China. So I thought, the basics for politeness. And somehow it got out that I was learning Mandarin. I remember somebody in a Facebook post on it going, I wonder if he's bothered to learn any te reo, and it kind of jabbed me a little bit.
What is it about that comment that really sat with you?
They were right. What the hell am I doing learning Mandarin when I'm at that stage completely and utterly illiterate in my own country's language? It's been a wonderful journey. Still the very beginnings though.
Tim wanted to change the culture within the Central Otago District Council, so he brought in Francie and Louise.
Te reo classes were offered and certificates in bicultural competency were offered.
When Francie and I were asked to help with the cultural training of the staff at the council, the councillors were invited to join, and I think only one of them did. But I'm not talking about the staff, I'm talking about the councillors themselves. No understanding at all, no experience, probably never even been into a Māori home, never been to a tangi, never been to a hui of any sort. They object to karakia.
Do you always feel safe going into those spaces?
Well, I used to cry a lot, but as I've got older, I've got
more confident.
Meaner.
Kia ora.
Time has brought the results he wanted.
The take-up was just magnificent. And so around the office now, it's, very, very common to hear te reo, but when I started 8 years ago, no.
But has he brought locals along with him?
We were not encouraged to use Maori, unfortunately. I would have loved to have in school. Yeah, I think it's a good thing, but, in balance. Like, we're all New Zealanders.
What do you mean by balance?
Oh, well, not sort of over the top Maori words. We've got to keep our own history as well.
Dunstan High School, they're very much into teaching the kids, and it'd be nice if the adults and the grandparents knew a little bit as well.
Would you like to see more Māori signage?
No, I think it's enough. I don't want to see anything changed, but anything new, that's fine.
I don't think you're ever going to change everyone's perception and understanding of te reo and te ao Māori.
In the last year, the use of te reo in public services has come under attack. English names now must be used first before Māori.
If 95% don't understand what it is, that all communication is about understanding and comprehension.
Government policy is to have English names first.
I'm concerned about the service they deliver, not virtue signalling.
I think it's a bit of a shame that it's happening. For me, it's another way to learn.
I find it depressing. I can't understand that the present government can have such a shallow experience of what it is to be Māori. I just can't believe it. Can't understand it.
Despite central government policy, here in local government, tikanga and te reo is being embraced.
Morena. Thank you for letting me share in this magnificent day for you. This is singularly my favourite part of being the mayor. So the first citizenship ceremony I just did it the way we'd always done it. Absolutely no te reo. I don't know if I began with kia ora, but I doubt it. No te ao Māori in there at all. Okay, so what's going to happen is we're going to get called through by our friends from Ngāi Tahu.
Louise and I are asked to do so many things in the community, but this one is the highlight of what we do. We appreciate it so much. They haven't heard the karanga or been in touch with things Māori, but they like the feeling.
Tēnā koutou katoa. Ko wera, ko Shetland te whakapaparanga mai. We're light years ahead of where we were, and I think for the new citizens, it's entirely appropriate and wonderful that this happens. The time has come to make it official, and finally you come. A real Kiwi, a proud New Zealander. It's the Māori country that they're being welcomed to, right? So I'm absolutely loving the amount of Māori influence in our citizenship ceremony. Well, I'm only just holding it together. I've got to admit, this has been an incredibly special.
I actually didn't get how profound an experience it was going to be until we were lining up outside and these two wonderful ladies from Ngāi Tahu welcomed us into the space and into New Zealand officially, and I'll never forget it. Never forget it as long as I live. Thank you.
It's very, very emotional. Very, very emotional.
This is the change Francie and Louise are proud to see.
So at long last, it just feels comfortable. We don't have the same resistance. I know people aren't all on our side, but that doesn't matter. We see their children and their grandchildren. Yay! So it's awesome.
Ka nui te mihi. Ke utonu mai e te iwi. We'll have more from the hui after this short break. Nau mai anō e ngā iwi. Ka hoki ngā mahara kia Toitū Te Reo I tū I te rātou, the first ever Māori Language Festival held in Heretaunga. The idea was to showcase and celebrate the language, to combat the attacks against Te Reo Māori. Dr Jeremy Tātere MacLeod is the man behind the festival and knows just how life-changing learning Te Reo Māori can be.
I'm pretending I know what's going on. Take the play?
Yeah. No, there's another one on the other side of the tent. Oh, yes.
Time is ticking.
That's where you wanted to be. Yeah, perfect. Let us know if anyone gets out of hand.
The countdown is on.
We've come a long way. We can't turn the dial back now.
For a festival...
See, look, this is what I'm thinking.
Months in the making.
Is Ruth here?
She should be around here. Tracy's just here. He's going to send Ruth to stand on the...
Do you want to check on... Stand on the corner? Wow. If I hear that there's a drama at the doors, I'll panic.
Everything needs to be perfect.
We spent the last 8 months trying to make it happen, get it off the ground. This is a positive demonstration, a positive celebration of what Te Reo means to most New Zealanders who are proud to call Aotearoa home.
He's talking about Toitū Te Reo, and he, Jeremy Tātere MacLeod, is its mastermind.
I've got till sundown today, and then I have to relinquish the reins. It just means that we have to execute the plan and let the taniwha do its thing. Let the hui go ahead.
In many ways, it's the culmination of his life's work, his dedication to Te Reo. But his journey to get here has been rather foreign.
Our parents are both Māori. They both left here in the 1970s, late 70s, built a new life in Australia. They both met there. I was born in 1986. I went to school there, grew up there, spent the first 17 years of my life there. And my parents had no knowledge of Te Reo Māori. They lived a happy life in Australia. I suspect they were very anxious about anything to do with Māori language and culture because they were products of their generation, right? One of my earliest memories of exposure to Māori culture, I was 5. We used to get these random VHS tapes, you know, of kapahaka. And it was one of the first things I remember, seeing haka and karanga and whai kōrero and the hairs on the back of my neck standing up when you hear the karanga. And I thought, well, where does that come from? You know, where does that come from, a child born in Australia? Catch my pen.
Hi.
Toitū Te Reo is the only Māori language festival, a genuine world first.
She picked up on the macaron on Kaumātua, so...
So the whole event was over.
Nothing a bit of duct tape can't fix.
That's all right, it's not the end of the world, but, you know.
Set in the heart of Heretaunga Hastings, Tātere's managed to get sign-off to shut down the streets of the CBD.
Kia ora. Kei te pai. Yes, I am. Hastings District Council has been amazing. Haven't spent any ratepayers' money just to, you know, allay any protests that might come down.
He's just a ball of energy, you know. He believes in this kaupapa so much. And I had him in my office and I said, Jeremy, how do we celebrate Te Reo Māori every year, Māori Language Week? And he goes, we can do that.
Tātere is now a well-known Māori leader and reo champion, but it wasn't always that way.
I enjoyed growing up in Australia, always felt something missing. I knew we were different. I knew we were culturally different.
His fascination with his whakapapa led to a desire to move to his tūranga waiwai and learn the language his parents had not.
And I remember one day, Dad, he asked me if I was serious about wanting to go and learn Te Reo Māori, and I said, yeah. You know, they handed me a little humble wad of cash to help me get by, sent me on my merry way. I lived here with my maternal grandmother, started at the Polytech here, learning Māori on the 16th of February 2004. I made a very concerted effort to fit in and assimilate as fast as I could. The first thing was to ditch the Australian accent. A lot of people were skeptical, you know, who's this kid from Aussie? I mean, those things drive me, right? I was like, I'm going to stick it out and I'm going to go hard, and I did.
Tātere excelled. He spent 7 years studying and was invited into Te Panikiritanga o Te Reo, the top Māori language academy, under the watchful eye of Tā Timoti Karetu.
You know, there's a saying that Kumara does not speak of his own sweetness. We have the same tribe and from the same marae. So I have to watch my P's and Q's, otherwise people are going to say, well. But he's a hard worker. He's a language lover. He's got this knack of going around with a hat in hand and say, please throw in a coin. He gets things done. Not easily, but they get done.
Yeah, programs kei konei. When I look back, I've been very lucky coming back here in 2004, and then 7 years later, being employed by Ngāti Kahunguniwi Incorporated to lead the tribe's Māori language revitalisation strategy. You know, they placed their faith in a 24-year-old to drive the tribe's language strategy, who was born in Australia. I've tried to give back to my whānau, to my hapu, to my iwi, to the language, because that language has propelled me into places that I never could have dreamt of. All right, Toitū Te Reo, what do we need? It's time to execute the plan. I'm going to try my best to give some people some Māori and what I can give, but meaningful. Not just kei te pēhea koe and I'm not even listening.
Ngā, kia ora.
Tēnā tātou katoa, kia ora tātou, mōrena.
Mai ki tātou tēnei kaupapa Toitū Te Reo.
Toitū Te Reo is a celebration of the language, a festival that comes at a time when Māori are feeling under attack.
We will change all the woke, virtue-signaling names of every government department back to English.
It should have its English name first.
When 5 million people speak English in New Zealand, actually being able to name our government department is actually important.
To attack an innocent language that's an official language of the country, that's just sort of, you know, surviving in some communities, that's hard, because I just don't understand that. I thought, well, how can we inject some happiness into this space? How can we show the world that this is a language that's loved and it lives in multi-facets? And how can that be our response? Activism can be through a positive lens too, and I wanted that to be my contribution.
But his contribution hasn't been without challenges.
Kia ora tātou. Te Rino and I have 3 sons, 15, 10 and 2. You know, they've had to live and breathe Toitū. Kia ora, son, love you. Of course, they're the ones that miss out on time with Papa. And only recently I've sort of been diagnosed with ADHD, which sort of made a lot of sense. It validated most of my life's journey. One of the hardest things is slowing down the brain, because the brain's always wired. But Toitū was, that was probably my brain when you look at everything that was happening in Toitū.
And there's lots happening.
I'm just in the rounds and man, it's stunning. E hikaka rawa atu ki te tai mai ki tēnei kaupapa whakahirahira.
This is the first of its kind, a Reo Māori festival that's literally shut down a city.
To walk around that festival and see people from all walks of life, from all generations, from all of the tribes of the country, grassroots, you know, it was amazing. And I thought, wow, these people believe in a kaupapa.
It's a kaupapa that has the full support of the who's who of Māoridom. Now the Māori Queen, Ngā Waihonoi Te Pō, played a special part, like Tātere did at the late Kingitu Haitia's tangi.
There's been so much that I'm extremely grateful for. Good people, good teachers, good mentors, people who have believed in me. But I think it's a bit phenomenal when I look back for a kid born in Aussie.
And it's the next generation of Māori kids that drives Tātere.
No, I do it because I think about the society that I want my grandchildren to grow up in. And I want it to be a society that's accepting and they won't have to deal with some of the rubbish that we're having to deal with.
I think all generations who are here will get something from it, not least of all the fact that, that it's proud to be Māori, despite everything the government does. It's the beginning of something big, I hope. It can only get bigger.
I'm amazed at how many people are here from across the country. It's phenomenal.
Rangatahi and tamariki, all here embracing their language, embracing who they are.
It's moving, it's heartwarming, it's reassuring, it's reaffirming, and it's a little bit emotional too.
We're off to Waiuku next. Nō reira, kia ita tunu mai ki te hui. No mai anō e ngā iwi. He kaupapa haka o ho pēr. I a kūtau te hunga pirangi ana ki a katipu I a kūtau tamariki mokopuna ki te reo Māori. Kei Waiuku, takiwā o tāmaki makaurau tetahi pāhara keke, e whāngai ana I ngā rito o te pā ki te reo. Mea nei te purongo, a Meriana Johnsen.
E haere ana hau ki te whare o kahurangi raua ko Tami Malcolm. E whakatipua ana tō raua whānau ki te reo Māori.
Mōku, he reo tuarua, te reo rangatira, nō reira, kaore kore. A he hapa ka puta e tahi wā, engari, nau mai te hapa, mā te hapa ka ako.
Kia ora.
Kia ora!
Nau mai, tēnā koe, ara mai.
Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Ki mai.
Kia ora. Ko mihi ana hau?
Mihi atu? Ka ora maki.
Kore kupu.
Ara mai.
Kei te rohe o Ngāti te ata, kei te ukaupō o kahurangi, te whānau e whāngai ti ana.
Koina te āhuatanga o tā koutou rātapu, nō hoki te kāinga, ngā ware.
Koku mahi.
Ki tēnei whare.
Ine wai mai?
Ai.
Ai, ine wai.
Te rera ki te teikapu.
He reo Māori, te reo kōrero. Nā te ao I tipu ai raua I whakatōkia ai te kākano.
I kura ana ki tētahi kurarumaki reo Māori. I Pukekohe, te raki o Pukekohe. Kāre mātou I kōrero Māori te kāinga, engari I kōrero Māori tōku kuia me tōku koro. Nō reire tuai tai te mata ki tō rātou whare. E tehi wai kōrero Māori mātou I reira.
I haere au ki ngā kurarumaki, ki roto I Aotearoa. Engari, he āhua huau o te wā, kaore he mea kū ki te koro I te reo Māori, te wā I tipu ake au. Nō reira, kaore au I tino rata ki te ako I te reo. I mōhio au I te reo, ngari ki hai I tino ako.
Ko te wawata ia ka tipu ake au tamariki I te reo?
Kaore te mea I whakatau ka reo Māori te tipuranga, I tau ai ki taua tūranga, I ringi I te hiahia kia tipu Māori, kau ko te reo anake. Engari, nāwai I reo Māori te ao katoa. E hia ngā kausan?
Toru.
E toru. Hea ngā tai o ngā kausan?
Hango me te prauri.
Ai. E hia ngā mea prauri?
Rua.
Mai ka karanga kia rātou?
Hai!
Kā ngā rautaki reo Māori ka mahi kōrua?
I kōrero Māori. I kōrero Māori kia kaiwharatira te rautaki. And e te wai, te mata ia ki te pāta mai hea tēnā, I tiro ki te papakapu.
Hipi! Hipi mata hipi! Tino rata au ki te hipi.
Tohua mai kei hea te noke. Kei hea te noke. Ka pai, wini koe, anei toka ari.
E tuari hia ana o rātou whiako ki te ao.
I koe koe tō mama? I horo koe o ringa?
Ai.
Ka pai.
Ngā piki.
Ka tēnā rewa.
Me ngā heke o te haerenga reo Māori.
Ka rua pai ki te reo Māori. Rea ki te reo pai ki hanake.
Ko hanga mātou i te tehi mirumiru reo Māori mōna. Engari, ka haere ki te tōhoko maha, ka haere ki te pinakaukau, ka haere ki te whapatākaro. He reo Pākehā katoa. E rā wahi ahakoa kua hanga mātou i tēnei mirumiru, ka puta i te whare, ka rongo i te reo Pākehā.
Engari, mā te whānau whānui e horahia ana te reo.
Ia wai mari ana mātou, ko whakatū oku whanaunga i te karahe karate.
Anō.
I te wā o te raumati, ka whakahaere tōku pāpā i te karahe tenehi i te reo Māori.
Nā tēnei whakatipuranga o rāua ki roto i te reo Māori, he mea whakaawe hei te pāhara keke kia hoki atu ki te aku i te reo, ki te whakapakari i te reo, tahuri ake ki te pāhara keke i nānei kua Māori te pāhara keke katoa.
Ai, he tika te kōrero, e hare i te tōtaki tahi, he tōtaki tenei.
Waka?
Te tino kai tūne tō māma.
Ia te rātapu hui ai o rātou hoa whānau hoki, ko te karaua Pākehā hoki e ako ana.
Area ki te wānanga takiura o te tau.
I pēhea tērā whiako.
He ke he tino wero, he wero pai.
He tino he Māori ki te tautoko i te whāinga matua ka kōrero Māori, a tamariki, kia kaunga te reo, a ngā mokopuna.
E rongo mai.
He mea miharo kia māua ki te whakarongo, ki te maringi mai o te reo o ngā mokopuna.
Wiki au e ke huie, tai.
E pū wai tonu ana tēnei pāhara keke, a ara noa atu ngā hua kua puta.
E mohi ana mātou ki ngā hua o te reo Māori. Ka hiki te wairua o te whānau, ki te noho rumaki reo, noere kārea i te tino whakarongo ki ngā kōrero e whakahi ana i te kōrero, kia kōrero Māori tātou. Ka whai tonu, ka kaha tonu mātou ki te kōrero i te reo.
Kia te e hoa māku hiki te kaupapa i aia nei. That is our hui this week. Kia mau ki te tūranga o taputapu Aotearoa. Haumi e, hui e, tāki e.
Te reo, te take.
Nā te puna whakatongarewa, te hui i tautoko.